She didn't wear gold to keep the king's attention. She swallowed it, and it was destroying her from the inside out. What made a young king become obsessed with Diane de Poitiers, a mistress 20 years older than him? And why did she drink gold to keep his desire alive? Diane de Poitiers should have faded beside younger beauties. Instead, Henry II looked at her as if every younger woman in France had disappeared. His desire gave her power, but power built on beauty has one enemy: time. So Diane tried to fight time with the strangest ritual of all. Gold she did not wear, but swallowed. His queen, Catherine de Medici, stood close enough to touch him. But Henry's attention crossed the room to Diane, wife beside him. Desire before him, humiliation between them. The court saw the obsession, Catherine saw the insult, and Diane saw the danger. If Henry's gaze made her powerful, losing that gaze could destroy her. Catherine stayed silent, but silence was not surrender. While Diane tried to preserve beauty, Catherine preserved humiliation. This was the world Diane moved through: stone, candlelight, mirrors, gardens, and rooms where beauty could become political. Diane entered like a woman who knew the room already belonged to her. Younger faces surrounded her, but none carried her authority. The women watched her gown, her skin, her posture, her confidence. They were not only admiring her, they were trying to understand her weapon. How could a woman older than the king hold him so completely? At court, admiration quickly turned into suspicion. Fans lifted, voices dropped. Diane's beauty was no longer just beauty. It became evidence, accusation, and threat. The court did not need proof. It only needed a rumor beautiful enough to repeat. They called it witchcraft. No ordinary woman could preserve herself this way. Others were whispering that desire itself had made the king blind. Diane was not queen, but she possessed the one thing Catherine could not command by title: Henry's devotion. Behind closed doors, they were no longer king and mistress. They were lovers inside a dangerous silence. Henry came consumed, and Diane knew his desire could change her fate. She understood the king's gaze had to be protected. Behind the court, beauty became labor, influence became ritual. Every hallway carried a risk. Every servant could become a witness. Every closed door covered a scandal. Diane's power depended on control: the face, the body, the gesture, the silence. Nothing could look desperate. At the vanity, Diane did not prepare like a lover. She prepared like a ruler defending territory. Pearls touched her throat, silk shaped her body. Every ornament said the same thing: she would not surrender her place. But mirrors are not loyal. They do not care who loves you. They show time approaching, even when aging hides beneath silk and pearls. When Henry left her chamber, Diane was alone with the real threat, not Catherine, not gossip or time. Before the court saw her, Diane saw herself. The confidence remained, but fear had entered the room. The chamber became an altar of beauty: silver, crystal, pearls, velvet, candlelight. Everything looked refined. Everything served survival. The alchemists promised eternity. In their books and bottles, gold was not just metal. It was the elixir of youth, feeding the fantasy every aging beauty feared losing: youth, radiance, and control over time. Then came the box. It looked expensive, private, unworthy of a woman who lived by appearances. The lid lifted, and the secret glowed. The curse was hidden inside luxury. They called it drinkable gold, not gold to wear, not gold to display, gold to swallow, gold that would keep her young forever. That was the seduction. The liquid looked pure, heavenly, almost sacred. It looked like the opposite of death. One drop could look like youth. One drop could look like power. One drop could look like the answer to fear. Diane wanted to believe it could preserve her. Not only her skin, but Henry's gaze, the gaze that made her untouchable. So she drank, not simply from vanity, But because in that court, being desired meant remaining powerful, the gold crossed her lips like a promise. But the body does not obey court fantasy. The body keeps the truth. The gold looked divine as it entered her, but inside the body, divinity became invasion, light turning slowly into poison. The blood lost its color. Slowly, the ritual that promised radiance began stealing her health from within. Her pale skin became part of the legend. People saw refinement. They did not see warning. Her pallor became part of the legend. The cruelest part was that the court admired what was hurting her. They praised the very paleness that should have frightened them. Still, she chose gold again, because power built on desire is never easy to surrender. The body began to betray her. Pain entered the hands that had once controlled pearls, letters, mirrors, and men's attention. The hairbrush betrayed her. Every fallen strand told a truth no courtier could flatter away. What had once been grooming now became evidence. Every strand carried the fear of decline. Powder covered what illness revealed. The mask had to survive because the court was still watching. Diane returned to the room composed, pale, and unreadable. The performance held, for now. To the court, she still seemed untouchable. But the image was becoming more fragile than anyone knew. Then Henry fell in the tournament. The king's blood hit the sound. The man whose desire protected Diane was suddenly gone. Her shield shattered. Diane stood still as the news reached her, but the world had already turned against her. Catherine was no longer watching from the shadows. The queen took control, and for the first time, the room belonged to her. Diane released the key, and with it, the symbol of everything Henry's love had given her. Without Henry, Diane was no longer the center of the court. She was the banished mistress now, alone with the beauty she had tried to preserve. Beauty became a ghost. The gown remained, the pearls remained, the objects remained, but the power they had served was gone. Centuries later, the story did not end in rumor. The tomb opened, and history looked again. The body gave the answer the court could not. The gold still shone, but beneath it was the evidence of a fatal obsession with youth and beauty. A vial, a pearl, a strand of hair, and an extinguished candle. What remained was not beauty, but the price of trying to keep it forever. Diane drank gold to freeze time and keep a king's gaze. In the end, the elixir gave her exactly what she wanted. It preserved her forever, not as a woman, but as a monument to her own poison.